We've all seen them, wellness influencers. And there's a simple formula: tell you what's wrong with your life and then sell you something that can fix it. It feels like a very modern scam, like something invented just for your phone. But it's not new. The playbook was perfected long before social media even existed by a guy named Kevin Trudeau. He made millions selling everything from memory improvement techniques to weight loss programs to self-help books. But his crowning achievement? Being the first person ever banned from selling anything via infomercials. Hello and welcome to Truly Unreal, the choose your own adventure true crime show where we tell stories about scams, cons, and bad actors. Because sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. I'm your host, James Lee Hernandez, and today I'm joined by Mary Sasson. Mary is a writer, performer, director, improviser extraordinaire who's written for Comedy Central, Netflix, College Humor, and McSweeney's. Mary, we are so excited to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
So before we get things started, we have our little version of an icebreaker, which usually is we spin the truly unwheel, which is this guy right here.
Love it.
Now, it's slightly different today because you actually have a story that's related to one of our slots, and we figured we'll just rig the game and boom, there you go. It's on Firefest, which normally has to do with, do you have some sort of a connection with a scam or some sort of thing in the scam world?
Sure, I have been scammed, I will say, and this might seem heavy, but I promise you, we're so fine with it. We're being me. My dad was like an amateur scam artist, I'd say, in my sophomore year of college. We were, kind of getting along at that point, and he was like, oh, I want to give you money. And I was like, I'm fine. And he was like, no, I want to give you money. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight. I just want to use the money. And so he was like, let me know your birthday and social security number. And when I tell people the story, they're like, he didn't know your birthday? And I was like, no, he didn't know my birthday. I'm also one of 8 kids. So no, he did not know my birthday. And he was like, okay, I'm going to open up a bank account in your name, look for a debit card. And the debit card never came. And so I was like, okay, that's odd. And I mentioned it to one of my siblings. I was like, I think Dad might have stolen my identity. And she was like, you should look into that. That is not out of the realm of possibilities. And my mom got access to his P.O. box, and he had stolen my identity and racked up a credit card and really tanked my credit for about 7 years. And then credit turns over, so all's good that ends well.
All's well that ends well.
All's well that ends well, Shakespeare would say. And he fumbled as much as I did when I said that.
Wow. I mean, this is definitely the most intense and personal, truly unwheel spin that we've ever had. But thank you for sharing. I mean, we'll get
Sure, yeah.
our psychologist on the line right after this to really help unpack.
Just go right into therapy.
Yeah, it's crazy that you were saddled with that for 7 years, but at least you made it past that.
And you know what it did do? It made my credit actually kind of immaculate, because all the years I could have been getting into credit card debt, I didn't. And so then by the time I could get a credit card, I was a legitimate grown-up. And so I don't have credit card debt because I would have tanked my own credit score if I had a credit card in 23. So thank you, Daddy.
Yeah, I guess that's making lemonade out of lemons. But I mean, I had a lot of friends that would, for whatever reason, get a Target card and just rack that up and think they never had to pay the money back. What a great icebreaker, one for the record books. So that kind of sets the tone for where we're going today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the shoes of a fraudster type person. And at every major turning point, we're going to stop down and I'll ask you kind of in character, what do you think the next moves are? And we'll track that and see how you measure up compared to what really happened. And maybe, you make it out alive in a way that they did not, or maybe you have the same fate that they had.
Let the games begin.
All right, we're ready. So you are Kevin Trudeau, which no relation to former Canadian Prime Minister. You're born in 1963. You live in Lynn, Massachusetts, which is a small town just outside of Boston. It's a working class household. Your dad's a welder, your mom is a housewife. As a kid, you do magic tricks at nursing homes and birthday parties, and you are showing very early signs that you love an audience. At 15 years old, you go to your first Amway meeting. So, if you remember, that is like a program that coaches people on different business strategies and tips. It's just
Okay.
multi-level marketing, but very early on.
I'm already starting into pyramid schemes.
Correct, at 15 years old.
Nice.
Now, we're going to fast forward to 1981. You graduate from St. Mary's High School in Massachusetts, and you actually get voted as most likely to succeed.
Oh.
And of course, you skip college and you start selling used cars.
Smart.
So you're really succeeding there. And then, of course, you start attending more of these conferences. So back then, it was called the seminar circuit. And the easiest example is Tony Robbins. So he's
Okay,
not necessarily in multi-level marketing, but he does those big, huge conferences, and you have to pay a bunch of money to go and all that.
A scammy TED Talk. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Scamming. And instead of at a TED Talk where you learn that algae is the key to us breathing oxygen for the rest of our lives, you learn how to like swindle people out of money, but quote unquote legally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think since I was raised outside of Massachusetts, I say "caw"?
At the time, yes, but we will get to the point where you're a very charming person and a
Okay, I lose it.
great talker. So you eventually got to lose
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So one day, this guy's speaking at one of the hotel seminars, and you're sitting in there, and he says he made 6 figures selling memory courses, and that stimulates a light bulb. So, okay, you're 20 years old, you're a used car salesman, you're in Lynn, Massachusetts. I mean, are you getting into the memory business?
Yeah. Because you know what? I'm supposed to be most successful, and I don't think I'm using my full potential. So let's go.
That's true. And so if you're thinking about selling a product, what product would you sell then in that realm?
I am going to sell mindfulness,
Mindfulness.
which is just the door outside of happiness.
I feel like that needs to be on a t-shirt or something. I love it. Okay, so mindfulness. All right, we'll remember that.
Which feels ahead of its time for 1980.
Definitely, like jogging had just been invented. So like all these things are new. So you as Kevin, you do the memory improvement thing and you start selling a product that's called Unlock Your Photographic Memory. And you become Kevin Trudeau, founder of the American Memory Institute, which does not exist. You just made that up out of thin air.
And I am the dean.
Yes, you're the dean and the only employee at this point. And you're introduced by announcers as author, lecturer, and America's foremost memory expert, Kevin Trudeau. And you're really good at this. Like, super personable, very likable. You used to sell used cars, so that means you can sell anything.
Also, this is before, if any questions like, how do you have those qualifications? It's like, I don't know, prove it. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to go to a library and look that up in a book? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
there's no
like,
Googling.
There's no Google. Movie phone didn't even exist at this point. So,
Yeah.
like, you couldn't find anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So, we actually have a clip of what one of these seminars look like. So, let's take a second, we'll check it out, and then now you'll really understand how good you are.
I can't wait to see myself.
You'll never be embarrassed again by your poor memory. As you'll see, Kevin Trudeau will explain how truly simple it is to remember people and their names.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Many of you know me. I'm Kevin Trudeau. I'm president of the American Memory Institute. Let me ask you all a question by show of hands, and be honest. How many here has this actually happened to at least once? You walk up to someone, you shake hands, that person gives you their name, and then as soon as that handshake breaks, the name just kind of drops right to the floor. Have anybody here? I always kid, if you didn't raise your hand to that one, maybe you didn't understand the question. It's happened to all of us at least once or twice, and it's embarrassing, isn't it? In a social situation, you're talking with someone, all of a sudden your spouse comes over, and you can't even make a proper introduction. You have to say for the third time in 5 minutes, I'm sorry, what was that first name again? Oh, that's right, it's Terry. And it's embarrassing. Zig Ziglar makes a statement which is so true. He says, people don't care how much you know until they first know how much you care.
Wow.
So, first of all, what do you think about all that?
Okay, so first impression, I'm not as handsome as I would have wanted to be. No offense to Mr. Trudeau, but my impression is that I think so much of speaking and giving speeches and being persuasive is just cadence. I think so much of speeches are you speaking in a way that makes people think you're saying more than you are? And he did that pretty well.
That is a very good point. It's a thing that politicians do all the time where they can talk about basically anything and seem like they know what they're talking about when they say nothing. But it's because of the way that they speak that you're engaged.
And I do think he did a good job of basically saying, you dummy. You're forgetting names, aren't you, you dummy? Aren't you, you piece of shit? Like, I could see the women being like, yeah, I do that.
So are you buying what he's saying?
I think it's very funny that to a room full of, like, mostly women, no offense to them, it didn't feel like those were people who are making deals, having a lot of business. But he kept being like, you're losing business. Like, it's a very funny room to tell people you're losing business.
Yeah.
But I did feel like the women were like, you're right, I am losing business. Like, I don't know what business they thought.
That's
Oh my
right.
God.
I am losing business.
That's where my business went. I've lost all my business.
Now, we're going back to you being good old Kevin. 8 years go by of you being on the memory circuit. And you start with a low cost or free intro seminar. If it's not free, it's like $9.95, $19.95. And then, of course, you upsell from there your advanced courses. And those things could cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And it really is a high-pressure sales system. Some of the seminars attendees say they bought packages in the $1,000 to $5,000 range.
My God.
It almost feels like timeshare sales techniques mixed in with the multi-level marketing.
People are mortgaging their houses to remember names.
Do I get a house or do I remember someone's name? Now, you're 27 years old at this point, and you've sold courses to thousands of people, and you're making pretty damn good money. But, of course, you want more. So what are your ideas to make more money at this point?
Are people trying to remember middle names? I'm going to go with something of like win friends and influence people type of thing.
Got it.
How to charm at a party, how to be remembered.
Right.
We've been remembering how to be remembered.
That is very smart and a much too legal way of thinking about it. So here's what actually happened. You realize that you have a lot of info from your customers over the years. You have names, credit card info, social security numbers, and you think that's a gold mine. So what if you just add a few charges to the credit cards that you already have? That would just slip through the cracks. So eventually, you rack up $122,000 of phantom charges on people's credit cards. And somehow, that, of course, is still not enough money. So you walk into a bank in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and you tell them that you're a doctor. And again, you're not a doctor. But it works. And again, like we were talking about, you couldn't just Google people and see if something is real or not. So they trust you. And over the next few months, you start writing checks from completely fake patients, and you deposit them into your own account.
Okay.
So this is basically called check kiting, kind of like the movie Catch Me If You Can, where
I was just about to say, Catch Me If You Canning.
Yeah, you could write a check on Monday, and then nobody would know if the money was real or not for weeks, but they would honor the check at the time. And you rack up another $80,000. So at this point, do you think you can get away with this? Like, how are you feeling right now as Kevin?
I went off the deep end pretty quickly. I went from just like selling classes to just stealing money pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm doing a lot of crime for not a lot of money, to be honest. But maybe that's how you stay under the radar.
Well, like $200,000 back then, meant a lot more than it does now, but it's still like you're risking your freedom for $200,000. I mean, I would need $5 million at least.
Yeah.
So it does catch up with you eventually. And in 1990, the state of Massachusetts charges you with larceny for the worthless checks. In 1991, the feds charge you with credit card fraud. Now, for you as Kevin, do you have a strategy for this defense? Do you try to fight it, or do you just take the L and move on?
Okay. I guess my first instinct was run. Get out of there. See if you can catch me if you can. Gosh, it's going to be tough to maybe explain, oh, I forgot I wasn't a doctor. Yeah, I'm gonna say I cut town.
Remember
False
that.
name. I go under a new false name.
Which would be totally smart. Unfortunately, Kevin, he's a showman. So you explain the doctor thing was actually a big misunderstanding. You say you didn't mean medical doctor, you meant memory doctor, because of course. But you end up pleading guilty for both things, and you end up taking a plea deal. So how are you feeling now as the memory doctor?
What is that a PhD in? What are you talking about? It's just kind of like, oh, my mom calls me doctor as like a nickname.
Yeah, my mommy says I'm special, therefore it's true.
Yeah. My mommy says nobody memories better than me, so I'm the doctor of it. But I guess a plea deal is good. I wonder if there are going to be stipulations that like I can't do business anymore.
Well, you end up going to federal prison. You serve about 2 years. And that's it. That's the end of the story. Thank you so much for being here. There's really nothing else to talk about.
Nice.
A normal person, would be like, I'm out. Yeah, I learned my lesson. Not Kevin. So Kevin obviously does not stop there. So while you're in prison, you have a thought. What if I just kept doing this, but legally? Okay, so 2 years in prison, not too shabby. What do you think the legal version of this is?
I open up a memory clinic and I target seniors who want to remember their grandkids.
That's actually really good. He should have done that. That would have been amazing. Unfortunately, he did not. So remember, this is 1993. If you want to get something out to a mass amount of people, you can't do social media or anything like a website, anything like that. So enter the infomercial.
I watched them all.
Yes, same. Like, do you remember some of the big infomercials during that time?
Yes. I would kill for a Sobakaya pillow right now. Do you remember that one? The
Yes.
cool pillow?
Oh,
The bead pillow?
So amazing. I mean, the easy one is like Ginsu knives or Jinsu, depending on how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Miss Cleo was a big one.
This is reminding me also, I did commit phone fraud as a child.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I called the psychic hotline because they were going to give a crystal if you called them, and I was not old enough. And I gave them my older sister's birth year because I knew she was 18. They gave me the crystal. I thought nothing of it ever again. And my mom was billed monthly. And I was younger than 8. And my mom called and was like, a child signed up for this. And they had a recording of me. They're like, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 18. And my mom was like, this isn't going to hold up. And they threatened to charge me with phone fraud. My mom was like, go for it. See what happens. And nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought about doing stuff like that. There was a point where I was like, dude, maybe I do need a knife that cuts through a can and I'm 9 years old. I don't know.
Slicing through paper like that?
Yeah, a tomato, just easy right
Yes,
through.
the thinnest slice. I'm 10 years old, but I need a thin sliced tomato.
Yes. So now, bearing all that in mind, like you can sell basically whatever you want at 3 a.m. on a TV. Like you as Kevin, what do you think is your big product that you're going to be selling?
I think like unleash your highest IQ, like unleash your potential.
Oh man, you are really locking in. You and Kevin are really getting close now. Well, of course, Kevin is trying to sell a ton of things. It's kind of wild. So First, he sticks with the original theme of memory products, like you said, with Kevin Trudeau's mega memory system. And the whole premise was unlock your photographic memory. There are cassettes that go along with it. Of course, then CDs when that changes over. It's a multi-part course. It's part lecture, part sales pitch, and always like an insider secret you weren't supposed to hear, but you're hearing it in this infomercial if you just are tuning in.
Insider secret, I'm the whole industry.
Correct. Yeah, you are the secret. Like you've unlocked the key to all of this memory stuff. But you're also selling other people's programs like Howard Berg's Mega Speed Reading. You can read 10 times faster than you would before by doing this. And Howard Berg is a guy who claims to be the world's fastest reader. Read fast and retain everything. And of course, skimming is for idiots. Like you're going to be able to remember everything. You also dabble in a few other products that have nothing to do with memory. There's a hair growth product, a hair farming system, basically, that will end baldness in the human race. There is a breakthrough to cure addiction in 60 seconds, a lot of quote unquote real estate secrets, and then one of my favorites, biotape, which allegedly cures severe pain using biofrequencies, but it's just tape with a label on it.
Anything with hair and real estate does feel very scammy, especially if I'm Dr. Mind, personally.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Kevin is just like, I'm going to throw it all out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, it works, and you make millions of dollars, and people love you. And you kind of look like a regional newscaster. Like actually, like after seeing him, it kind of, oh yeah, that suit and everything. I do feel like he could tell me about the weather in Massachusetts right now.
Yeah.
And you essentially become like the face of late night infomercials. Meanwhile, while you're getting rich on late night TV, someone else is watching. And that someone else is the Federal Trade Commission. That's the FTC. And their entire job is to stop people lying in ads, essentially. And they decide they're going to sue you for false claims in your infomercials because all of this stuff is basically bullshit. And you agree, okay, I'm going to settle and pay a fine, but part of the terms are you say you won't make any more claims about quote unquote science with no evidence. So, okay, Mary, you as Kevin, are you keeping that promise? And how can you do what you're best at without making these false claims?
I'm going to pivot to religion. I am going to start spiritual claims so that it doesn't feel as scientific, and maybe even partner with Liberty University, some type of university like that, so that us together, good luck, FTC.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great way to go about it. Then you can start like possibly not paying taxes anymore. There's a whole universe out there.
I'm so close to being a preacher. Just give me
that's true.
sash.
It's the same. Yeah. It's the same kind of thing. You just
It's the same
instead of
game.
memory, you just start throwing Jesus in there.
Yes. Spirits, all kinds of things.
Yeah. The Holy Spirit is moving through you and telling you that you need this brand new Cadillac. And if people don't give you the money,
it's the
then the
devil
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, it's the devil who stopped that hair. Let's get him out.
Ah, God, that's what he really should have done. So you're going with religion. We'll remember that. And honestly, like if I'm ever going to pull off a fraud, you're my first phone call because you're really nailing this.
Thank you.
But that is unfortunately not what good old Kev does. So the idea is like, okay, I can't lie in an infomercial. How can I lie? Is basically his thought process. So you pivot to starting to make new ones that look like a talk show. And so you're the host.
Now it's
And-
entertainment.
Correct. You bring in a guest. For example, there's a guy named Robert Barefoot. Yes, that literally is his name.
Wow.
And he calls himself a world-renowned chemist. So you have him on your quote-unquote show. His actual chemistry background, though, is in rocks and oil drilling. And
Okay.
his co-author had his medical license revoked in 1983. So Essentially, what he's doing is I'm going to be a host. I'm going to interview someone, and they're making the claims, not me.
Okay.
So the book that Barefoot wrote is called The Calcium Factor, and it's all about coral calcium. It is crushed up, fossilized coral.
Okay.
And chemically, it's essentially the same as Tums. So nothing too crazy there. But Barefoot claims that coral calcium can fight heart disease, can help with MS, and cures cancer. Just some light claims going on in this infomercial. The loophole here, as I mentioned, is that this is not coming from Kevin. So he's not making all these crazy claims. He's just interviewing somebody, and they have free speech to say whatever they want in this interview.
Yeah.
Like the like wellness craze that happened now, Kevin like weirdly kind of helped invent that. And this is
Kevin.
2003, so he's way ahead of the schedule. Like, what comes to mind when you think about all this stuff?
I'm a big, the opposite of fan of wellness.
I'm a fan of unwellness.
Yes, I love to be sick. No. It does feel, pretty crummy also to like prey on the insecurities of people's health.
Right. Here's also another fun aspect to this whole thing. So technically, they're not selling anything. It literally is an interview. Kevin, you as Kevin as host, you literally just talk about all the benefits of coral calcium. But the way that you sell things is in the middle of the conversation, a phone number shows up on the screen. No call to action, no nothing. You don't talk about the phone number, just the phone number appears. You kind of did already when you were a kid and you called and wanted to get the crystal, but
I'm calling that number.
Yeah, would you just call a random number like that?
Yes, 100% I'm calling that number.
All right. Well, the call takes you to a line, and what they do is they try to sell you Coral Calcium Supreme, which sounds kind of like a new gordita Taco Bell. And it becomes the #1 highest earning infomercial in America in 2003. You make $54 million.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So this idea really seems to be working, but what do you think the FTC thinks about it?
They're on board. Congratulations, Kevin. They hand me the check, a big check, Publishers Clearinghouse style. No, I don't think they like it. I think that they're going to find a way that this is not allowed.
And you are totally right. The FTC does not buy this whole talk show thing. They sue you again, this time in 2004, and you settle again.
It took me a year again to get in trouble with the FTC.
Yeah, only a year. Like,
they're on my ass.
Yeah. But the biggest thing that happens of all of this is you are the first person to be banned from making infomercials at all.
The king.
The king's crown is fallen. Yeah. You cannot sell anything via infomercial ever again, forever. Now, this is an extremely rare move. You are the first person this ever happens to. So, you as Kevin, what's your pivot now?
It's 2003. I'm going pop-up ads.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now internet's starting to show up. That's true.
Or I'm now selling classes or consulting other people on infomercials.
That would be a smart way to go about that, which actually comes into play much later on. But at this point, you don't do that. You decide you're going to start selling books. Now, there's a specific reason for this. You can write a book basically about anything. And if that's free speech, me talking about a book is also free speech. So, if you're going to try and sell books, what kind of genre of book would you be selling?
Yeah, I'm thinking like wellness, where the verbiage can be something of like to feel your best self.
Yeah, Mary, you're getting pretty locked in here. Here's what actually happened. So it's 2004, and you self-publish a book, and the name of the book is Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. They being
Parentheses, FTC.
yes, the doctors, the government, the pharmaceutical industry, and you, Kevin Trudeau, are the only person who knows the answers.
It's kind of wild that I haven't just walked away from the table with 54 million.
Yeah,
You know what I
even
mean?
even the payout that you have to give the FTC, you'd still have a lot of money left.
Even if they fined me $50 million, walk away from the table, Kevin.
Yeah. 4 million in 2003 that's a huge chunk of change.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody doesn't want you healthy.
Right. So everybody doesn't want you healthy. And here's some of the advice that's in the book. Multiple sclerosis, MS, can be cured by magnetic mattress pads. If you take medication for depression, you're supposed to stop immediately and just go for a stroll every day and look far away as you walk. Just stop taking medication in general, even if you have something serious like diabetes or blood clots. You need to wear a quote unquote personal magnetic chaos eliminator, which will keep your brain from being fried by cell phone and radio waves, which is basically just a necklace with a metal disc on it. And sunlight does not cause skin cancer, but sunscreen does cause skin cancer.
We've circled back around to that.
Oh, yeah. Never dry clean your clothes. Never use swimming pools and never eat pork. Wear white for positive energy. Do not wear deodorant. That gives you cancer. Or watch the news. Stress alters your pH levels, which can also give you cancer. If you stare into the sun every day while barefoot, you won't need food anymore.
No one need food anymore.
Yeah.
This would be fun to brainstorm.
Yeah, like where it's like a fever dream of things that he's just throwing out there. Here's one of my personal favorites. Wear magnetic toe rings just because they'll help somehow. And if all else fails, the book says, just try Scientology.
I was about to say a lot of this does feel Scientology adjacent.
Yep. And so if reporters ask about evidence for any of this, you either say the studies were unpublished, you don't believe in studies, or the studies are in the book, but the cures are mostly not in the book. To get that info, of course, you need to have access to a paid website, like a membership essentially. And it's $30 a month for this membership.
Health insurance is more.
Yeah. Of course, this works as well. You become #1 on the New York Times self-help bestseller list. You sell 4 million copies of this thing. That's roughly like $150 million in book sales. And your personal net worth now is $75 million.
The high school was right. Most successful.
And like, we're talking about like, even if you had a $50 million fine and you had the 4 million left over, you're good to go. Like, why would you keep pushing it? And it's working. Now he's 75 million.
And also, this is maybe not fair, but if you believe that wearing magnetic toe rings is going to cure X, Y, or Z, just hand over your bank account. Like,
yeah, you deserve to be ripped off.
yeah, I'm not someone for social Darwinism, but at a certain point, maybe money is too dangerous for you.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna cut yourself on that dollar. Give it to me.
Well, this is the crazy thing. The FTC tried to shut you down and accidentally made
Haters.
you richer. Like, how are you feeling? Yeah, you're feeling like I got one over on these haters.
Yes.
And you get to the point where you go on Oprah and talk about all this stuff. Then you basically go on every news show. You suddenly are the consumer advocate because you are protecting other people from big pharma and corrupt doctors.
Yeah, from big insulin.
Yeah, come on. And during this time, the Washington Post does a profile on you and describes your outfit. Says you're dressed like a televangelist. And of course, you have done infomercials with Tammy Faye, so you're not far off. You're wearing luxury suits, alligator shoes, diamond Rolex, and a ring with a rock so big, quote unquote, a child could choke on it. You tell reporters that you haven't been sick in 25 years, and you're going to stay healthy till you're 150 years old, and that you might run for president because there are 25 million people that would probably vote yes for you.
Wow.
So you're worth 75 million. You're number one bestseller. You could just keep selling your book and buy a beach somewhere and really never work again. Do you take the win and stop here, or do you keep going?
Kevin does not stop. Kevin keeps going.
Kevin is the definition of can't stop, won't stop. So you would keep
Yes.
going just like Kevin actually does. Now, it's 2007. You've found your formula, and now you just need to keep that going. You need to write another book. So the new book's title is The Weight Loss Cure They Don't Want You to Know About.
I can't believe actually it took me this long to do weight loss.
Yeah, like it's right in front of our faces the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's some of the things about the book. The easiest weight loss method known on planet Earth. That's how this is described. And after you do it, you claim that you can eat anything that you want at any time you want.
Okay.
But what the book actually says you need to do, and we're getting to the methodology here. You need to walk outside 1 hour every day. Okay, it's fine. Like you hear about that stuff. Get your 10,000 steps, whatever. You have to get a regular colonic for the rest of your life. You eat only 100% organic food, no fast food, no big brand chain food places for the rest of your life. You should not ever use air conditioning or fluorescent lighting. And then a couple of my favorites are here at the end. You have to do daily injections of HCG, again, for the rest of your life. HCG is a hormone found in pregnant women. It requires a prescription, and of course, it is not approved for weight loss. And then this is kind of my personal favorite because it really sums everything up. You're only supposed to eat 500 calories a day for 21 to 45 days.
It feels like this system is so hard to do that it's like, well, if you accomplished it, you reach your goals. But it's like, also you have to find a leprechaun. Like,
Yeah. / if you eat only 500 calories a day, that's basically prison camp level amount of calories.
yeah, that's gulag stats.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, would you ever do this diet?
No, I have to eat more than 500 calories. Also, I'm not injecting myself with anything.
Yeah, that is a leap right there.
Like, I'm not against GLP-1s, but that feels like a doctor gave this and there's some research behind it. I'm not injecting the hormone that you test for to see if you're pregnant.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The book sells millions of copies and again becomes a number one bestseller.
Wow.
You make even more money and you start making infomercials again for the book.
I'm back.
And here's the shocking update. The FTC is not happy.
Those mother effers. Get off my dick, FTC.
They're all over you. And quickly, too.
One of them has a crush on me.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. The suits, the gator boots, gold Rolex. The problem is your ads for the book claim that readers will lose large amounts of weight easily and without restrictions. The FTC says that claim is deceptive and unsubstantiated because the book asks for extreme calorie restrictions and a lot of other steps that are not easy for most people. And in 2008, the judge literally says that you clearly and no doubt intentionally violated the 2004 order to stop doing infomercial / ads that make false claims. Then the judge does the math. How much did consumers pay for the book based on those infomercials? The math comes out to you owe $37,616,161.
My money.
So you've been hit with a $37 million judgment. You actually have the money. You're worth $75 million. But obviously, you're not going to just pay and walk away. So how would you get out of this one?
Okay, it's 2008, so the economy just crashed.
We're in
It's going to
the
crash.
vicinity
We're
of
in
crash.
crash time.
Yeah.
How am I going to get out of paying the money? I'm a church. So I'm going back to religion. I'm a church now. Yeah, I'm a church.
All right, so you're going church, which that whole spin from the beginning would have been a smart way to go about it if you wanted to get away with something like this. But what you do is you don't pay and you appeal the judgment.
Okay.
Then you go on TV and you say the FTC is censoring you, and you sue the FTC, and you do it multiple times and lose every time. So by 2013, you refused to pay even $1 of the $37 million. Your next move is, of course, you file for bankruptcy protection. And the FTC investigators don't take this lightly. Like, they essentially say, like, wait, he's got to have this money somewhere. We need to prove that he's got the money. So they start looking around and they see that you're still living in a mansion. You're still spending lavishly on like cigars and jewelry. You're getting $359 haircuts. This is a really specific number, but it does come up in court. How is that even possible? Like, even today,
Yeah, I'm
my
being
haircut,
scammed by the barber.
yeah. There's scam the scammer at this point. Who
Yes.
cares? So the FTC is, of course, like, look, man, you're not so easily hiding your assets, and you're not complying. And in November of 2013, a criminal contempt trial kicks off. And you tell the judge, look, okay, you got me. I'm sorry. I've been meditating. I've been praying. I've been reading self-help books, which he probably wrote, and that you've experienced a personal awakening, and you promise you'll never lie in an infomercial again.
God.
Well, the judge is not moved by any of this stuff and says you treated court orders like mere suggestions, and that you've been defrauding people since the age of 25, and you're sentenced to 10 years in federal prison.
10?
Yeah.
I'm going to miss all the Obama years.
True. Yeah. That's really maxing that out.
My gosh.
Oh, during the hearing, one of your supporters in the gallery starts yelling at the judge and refuses to leave and has to be physically carried out by U.S. Marshals.
My man.
You definitely still have fans. Now, we will get to the aftermath, but first, let's see how you did. Now, from the beginning, you would have sold mindfulness courses, which is honestly pretty genius, so genius that it happens right now. And you probably would have been a big success on the seminar circuit. And like Kevin, you would have pivoted to infomercials to help people unlock their best minds. Unlike Kevin, though, once you made your $54 million, you probably would have walked away, which you would have paid a little fine, but you would have got away with it, had some money, throw them in like some mutual funds, and been hanging out in Miami with Lenny Kravitz or something crazy like that. So you probably would have avoided the 10 years in prison that he ended up having to do because of all the fake books that he wrote. So as much as you would have gotten scuffed up a little bit with the fines, you would have survived this whole thing.
Nice.
So congratulations, you are a criminal mastermind.
Thank you. Then I donate to the Trump campaign and I secure my pardon.
Yeah, I mean, you might have been in the cabinet. I mean, who knows if RFK has a
Yeah.
job if you're still kicking at full strength.
Oh my gosh,
you know?
yeah. I become Secretary of Mindfulness.
Yes. So Kevin reports to federal prison in 2014, and he serves about 8 years of his 10-year sentence. He gets released in 2022, and even while he was in prison, his infomercials kept airing on U.S. television. That $37 million is still unpaid. The FTC has been chasing it for over a decade. They found some money in shell companies and sent refund checks to some of the customers who bought the book, but most of it is just still missing. Now, there's some excuses for all this stuff. So the credit card fraud was because at the time, he paid one bill a little too late. So he had no choice but to use other people's social security numbers to get a new credit card.
No choice.
Yeah. Despite having a mega memory, he said it was a very blurry time in his history with all the stress, and says that he was the victim of censorship by the FTC and compares himself to, and I'm not kidding, Rosa Parks and Gandhi.
Two of my favorite people.
Yeah. So Kevin today is 63 years old, and he's out of federal custody. So what do you think our good friend Kevin Trudeau is doing now?
The world became what he set up in a lot of ways. Like, maybe the best thing that happened to him is like, I've been censored. People don't want to know the information I know. And obviously he has no remorse, so he's definitely doubling down on something. God, what is the newest scheme of all this?
When I tell you the thing, it's all going to make sense. So his focus now is on manifesting. He published a book in 2025 called Your Wish is Your Command. Kind of like the you know in Severance. And he also, of course, has a YouTube channel and a website. He's got 178,000 subscribers and 293,000 followers on Instagram. In a recent video, he's quoted as saying, "Sometimes people say I'm a human and I have a spiritual experience. No, you're a spiritual being who is temporarily having a human experience." Feels very Scientology-y.
Wow. I feel like I can now go watch George Washington in real life. Like, this man is still around. I can go see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's still around and still very much like putting things out there because of what the internet has become. You basically can claim anything and get away with it.
Yeah.
Every wellness influencer now telling you, like, quote unquote, they don't know the real truth, or like people are hiding, or big pharma, all that stuff. He started all this stuff.
Wow.
And every like do your own research guy, or like the kind of goop adjacent / like health and wellness
Anti-vax
supplement bro thing. Yeah, exactly. Like that stuff. We really owe all of that to Kevin Trudeau. Although, you know, like snake oil salesmen have existed forever, but he really made it for the modern era.
Wow. Kevin.
Now, we usually ask our guests, like, do you think that this scam could be pulled off today? Because, you know, this started in the 80s and all of that, but this kind of is happening now with like TikTok shops and all that stuff.
The only thing I think that he'd have a problem with is the field is so saturated. Would he be able to break through?
That's a great point.
It's like, oh, I believe that sunscreen causes. It's like, get in line.
Yeah.
Hope the algorithm favors you.
Which ingredient do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
So, Mary, what is your biggest takeaway from this?
I mean, it's a little P.T. Barnum, a sucker's born every minute type of deal. I maybe should stop being surprised. There are so many people who yearn for this type of information, who really want to be told, stare at the sun and you'll lose weight. Like, there's just a wealth of people who are so easily manipulated when it comes to like health and wellness and weight loss and things like that. That's what really, I think, is my takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he is a convicted felon multiple times, has served 2 different prison terms, and has lost a ton of judgments, literally has over 200,000 Instagram followers, and people are commenting and like interacting with him and believing in this stuff still today.
Well, now almost like federal charges, it almost, like I was saying before, kind of like it gives him credibility in the sense of like, do you see the way they're trying to silence me?
Right.
Do you see what I've done for you? Do you see, I had to go to prison, but I'm still here trying to tell you this information.
It's true. It's the whole
stop.
Jesus complex, you know, like I had to die for your sins. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it somehow makes people like that be like, wow, I can't believe what this guy's been through for us, for the truth.
Yep. And look, that 37 million, that's still floating out there somewhere. So
that's crazy.
It's a wild thing. Well, Mary, thank you so much for being here, playing along. Where can listeners find you?
Well, here's where I want Kevin Trudeau to find me. Kevin, if you're listening, I'm on social media, Instagram and TikTok at Mary Sasson. Go there and maybe me and Kevin will be collabing.
Yeah, I can't wait for that collab. Please, when can I get my hands on the book so I can learn how to lose weight by just not eating ever?
Yes, by hitting yourself with a shovel on the head.
Yeah, hopping
I will
on
be
one leg
brainstorming,
will help
hopping
get
on
rid
one
of my
leg.
brain fog.
rubbing a cat on your forehead, all the ways.
Yep. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening to Truly Unreal. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Truly Unreal Show so you don't miss behind the scenes, clips, and bonus content.